Welcome to Americans Abroad. We've started a new thing where we now introduce ourselves. I'm Jen.
And I'm Stephanie.
I live in Mérida, Yucatan, Mexico.
And I live in Porto, Portugal.
Amazing. So now that you know who we are, this week's episode is going to be me chilling with my girl, Stephanie, and we're just going to talk about the issues of the day and what life is like in Mexico and in Portugal. How are you?
Doing great. It's starting to get hot here. So we have like some wind noise in the background. It's because I finally have the AC on. But I will tell you, I'm super grateful that it is at time of recording June, and it's the first time turning on the AC, which is a very different experience from living in San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah, no kidding. I can't even imagine. And the World Cup is kicking off.
Yes.
So how is Portugal doing?
Portugal is in full on World Cup fever. I am also in full on World Cup fever. I've been a football fan for decades, so I am super excited. Portugal plays their first game on Wednesday the 17th. Is Portugal's first match. So we're going to go out and watch it. And in fact, today I found out that they have set up one of those big screen fan zone things like 3 blocks from my apartment here in Gaia. So,
oh my God. You're going to be able to hear it no matter where you are.
I'm going to be able to hear it. We're already trying to figure out which of the group stage matches we want to go watch on the big screen with all of our neighbors. We have some friends, some American friends who are also football people that live maybe 5 miles from us. So they're going to come up, we'll get together and we'll go to the fan zone. But I'm super excited to be able to watch World Cup with people who are very into World Cup, because that hasn't always been the experience. Mexico plays their first match today at time of recording. So what have you noticed in terms of World Cup fever down in Mexico?
Okay, so this is really interesting. And they're playing South Africa today in Mexico City, because Mexico is a host destination like the US is. And so Yucatan is not a football destination. In Yucatan, they like baseball. So it's, there are a lot of things about Yucatan that are very Caribbean. And that is one of them. So we have a team called the Leones, the baseball team, and they're huge fans. And then, huge fans of the Leones. And then we have a phenomenal women's softball team that became famous because they play barefoot and in their traditional garb.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I think it's really exciting. Now at Chedraui, there's a huge section of FIFA merchandise to choose from. And it's like I was going through because I was like, I want to get a Mexico thing to like cheer on the team. And it was like France, Argentina, and Brazil. And I finally found a Mexico hat.
Right.
So that I can wear it to the US. But there was just an Argentina game at my alma mater, Auburn University. And so I got to see a ton of TikToks of like Argentinians wandering around in rural Alabama trying to find the stadium. And then, of course, they're blown away because it's an SEC school. Like it's not Neyland Stadium, but it's no joke. So they're all blown away that these random schools in the sticks have these gargantuan stadiums. So, and they did, listen, I wasn't a football fan. I didn't go to games when I was at Auburn. I sat in my room and read Sylvia Plath, but they do a cool thing where they release an eagle, because it's War Eagle is the chant, and the eagle flies around the stadium. And then the Falconers, who are two women students, collect it. And you could just tell everybody was going nuts seeing the eagle fly. And I thought that was really cool.
One of the sides of TikTok that I have been dumped into today specifically are the teams who are playing in Mexico this week arriving into Mexico. There are videos of the South Korean team arriving in Guadalajara and doing what I can only describe as the Mexican, the cantaros, the Mexican clay jugs that like you drink out of. But a giant one filled with like tequila and agua fresca and doing basically keg stands with these like Mexican men are like holding these like Korean boys upside down so they can drink tequila out of a straw. I'm like, this is what bringing people together is really all about.
And then go run in these
And then
temperatures. Oh
exactly,
my
exactly. But I'm
gosh.
like, but when you're a fit, athletic 21-year-old boy, I think you can kind of get away with it.
Yeah, fair
But
enough.
the Japanese team arrived. I don't know where in Mexico their first game is, but they all got like traditional Mexican hats from that region, from the governor of that Mexican state. So I'm really loving just watching these teams arrive and very much kind of like fish out of water, but like probably much more so in Canada and Mexico than maybe they're seeing in the US, but like just how embraced in like this like exchange of cultures, even in a
Yeah,
very silly way.
absolutely.
And I think that's one of the things that I love about World Cup the most is, the rivalry is great. Teams winning, your favorite team winning is great. But the interplay between fans of different teams and like the connection of fans from different teams. And it's something that I think is, at least in my experience, uniquely football,
Mhm.
where you have your rivalry, but at the end of the day, you've got your hand over their shoulder and you're, just cheering a beer, whoever wins, whoever loses, that there isn't this, good versus bad, white hat versus black hat sort of thing, like there is in the NBA finals for me and the Knicks, but that less on that, the better. But I am
By
so
the time
excited.
people hear this, it will be decided. Everyone will
Yes.
know what happened. But
Yeah, yeah. But no, I am so excited for this series. So yeah, we're planning our schedule. My two teams. So now Portugal, my adopted team, and England, my team forever and ever, are playing on the same day, two different matches. So it'll be a long day for me Wednesday night.
you have so much fun. I need you to be my lifestyle coach. I need
Your
help.
cruise director.
Yes, I all I want to do is work, and then when I'm not working, I don't know what to do with myself, and
Mhm.
I need you to you should start a whole nother business that's like, here's what you should go do tonight, and make people go out and experience
And do a
their
thing.
cities. Yeah,
It was one of the things. So I'm an extroverted introvert. Like when I am expected to be on, I will be on, but my battery tends to drain pretty quickly. But I wanted to push myself outside of my comfort zone when we moved of like, look, you can't just stay in your house. Like, you move to this city that has public transportation and everything at your doorstep for a reason. So why not take advantage of it? So, I possibly to you, it looks like it comes very easy to me or it's just natural, but it is a skill that I had to curate. And it is getting easier. And as I, make friendships and we have standing appointments like every Friday, we hang out with this person, or every Wednesday, so and so comes to our house and we watch a movie, these things that are repeatable. Um, it becomes a lot easier, but I will tell you, it is getting out there, I think, especially as a middle-aged woman is work, at least at the beginning. So, I'm glad I make it
I
look
don't
easy.
even have repeatable stuff with my own husband. Like we really struggle. So
Yeah.
anyway, you inspire me. I love to hear about
Oh,
what you've done. It makes me want to do something so that on Monday when we have our team call, I can tell you what I did over the weekend, and it isn't.
yes.
I wrote
Yeah.
a newsletter
I think having a standing agreement, and maybe this is like that first step for you and Brett, because I know Brett is very much like you, where it's like if we could just hang at home with the dog and the kitties and watch a
for
thing and
sure.
do some work and cook and never see another soul, that would be fantastic. So I when you got
We're really bad about
double
that.
the influence on the enabling on each other, I'm sure it's a challenge. But one of the things that I think really helped Dave and I even before we moved was having something on our calendar that was at this day between these hours and these hours, we have to figure out something. And the something isn't just hang at home and do
Does he
nothing.
help you with that, or do you have to do it all?
I am still definitely the cruise director of our
Hmm.
relationship.
Hmm. But
But
he's like Brett in that he's up for whatever.
he is,
And
yeah, for
how does
99% of the time up for any sort of adventure. Or if I throw, hey, I want, so like last weekend we went to Braga for the day. We hopped on the train, 40 minutes, we're in Braga.
Mhm.
So I knew I wanted to have Braga on the calendar. So I was like, so when in June, like which of these Dave Stephanie days do you want to go to Braga? So
Mhm.
bringing him in a little bit on like the when, even if it isn't, planning the whole thing. But yeah, he is very much the passenger princess in our social life. But he's also done a really good job of like, getting out and doing his own thing. I think one of the things that has helped us in terms of to find out what is out there, and I am so grateful for this, is we have a giant WhatsApp group called Porto People that somebody invited me to after I went to like a little crafters meetup. And they said, "Are you in the Porto WhatsApp group?" And I was like, "I have no idea." Like, I'll add you. And then there's all these subgroups. So there's like the LGBT group. There's the foodies group. There's the laudable libations for the drinkers. There's the folks who like to go hiking, which I am not in that group. Never will
I'm
be.
in
But
all those groups.
yeah, cinephiles, all of these things. And so you can kind of find um your kind of curated tribe. And so that's been really
Mhm.
helpful in terms of seeing, who I like virtually, or when somebody's like, "Hey, we're going to go do a lunch. I made a reservation for 10 people. Who wants to join us?" And just being able to just go, "Cool. I don't have to organize it. I will just pop in
Yeah.
and participate." I also wonder too if a little bit of the frequency in terms of me doing stuff is not only the concerted effort, but the fact that Porto doesn't have to be a driving city. And so it
Yeah.
feels
True.
much easier to walk 10 minutes, or look, I just got to get on the metro. I don't have to stress about where am I going to park and is traffic going to be bad, and all these other things that I think kept me at home back in the States. Uh, I can just be like, I just need to walk out my door and hop on a metro. It takes the excuse away of the actual logistics.
Yeah. Well, we're so focused on growing this business. And I
Mhm.
actually wanted to talk about some of the
Yeah.
things that we have coming up. So, we finished the conference. God knows, I know we beat it to death. It drives everybody crazy.
Yeah. Thankfully, it's just once a year for like
No,
6 weeks.
the thing is, like, you have somebody who hears us talk about it 422
Yeah.
times, and then the whole rest of the world never hears it. And
Yeah.
so you're constantly having to like repeat yourself to try to get,
Mhm.
the word out. Um, but so a couple of the initiatives that we are launching this summer, one is our affiliate program. So if you don't know what an affiliate is, it just means that, so like if somebody were to make a TikTok video and say, "Hey, I went on the Portugal trip, you should go on the Portugal trip too. Here's my code." Then if you come in and you go, "Ooh, that looks interesting," and you click it and you book a trip, then we go back and pay that person a referral fee. And it is super beneficial. It's how I built Expatsi to begin with. So when I first started, I would find partners who I trusted. I'm not just random people, but who I trusted. And then when someone came to me and said, "I need help moving to Spain," I would say, "Okay, you can talk to these people and I will earn a referral fee." And that's how I started to build my business. Well, there are two aspects to this. One is that Expatsi inherently is a network of people, right? And by the way, if people are listening to this and don't know, Expatsi is my business. Stephanie works with me, and Americans Abroad is something else we do. They're all friends. They're all sisters in the same family. And so first of all, we need more people who are having conversations because Stephanie and I can't have all the conversations. There's data that shows that 1 in 3 Americans is thinking of moving abroad,
A
which is
lot of
like
people.
130 million people. And we only have so much time to answer DMs on Instagram.
Mhm.
So it allows us to have more people having those conversations, but it also means that those people now have that digital nomad job. So a
Right.
big thing that holds people up, not necessarily retirees or people who already have their own business or people who have remote work, but a lot of people don't have remote work and so they can't go. So
Right.
if that's you and you're interested, you can start your own business helping other people move abroad. And that's it. That's all there is to it. It's not like there's a fee or you're not going to have a downline, nothing
Yeah,
like
you don't have
that.
to buy a kit or anything or buy
No,
your
no,
own
no, no,
products.
no.
Yeah.
No, you just, we have a page for it. It's expatsi.com/affiliate. And Ron will put it in the notes or whatever. And Stephanie made a big training program so you know
Mhm.
how to do it. Listen, it's not going to be right for everyone. Some people are entrepreneurial and some people aren't. But if it is right for you, it's out there.
Mhm.
I think it is a great option for people to start their digital nomad businesses, but it's also a great add on for people who are like realtors or financial planners or travel agents,
Mhm.
because those are the folks, when you're in a situation where you want a change, when you need a big
Yeah.
transition and you want to talk to someone you trust, you might call your friend who's a realtor and say, I want to sell my house and run away to Greece. And right now, your realtor could just go, okay, I'll sell your house, and that's it. But if your realtor worked with us, they could say, hey, I'll sell your house and I can help you get your visa in Greece.
Mhm.
So I think it is a natural affiliate. And speaking of houses,
Yeah.
Brett is taking his real estate exam in 1 week from today. And after that, we'll be launching Expatsi Homes. Do you want to explain a little bit about how this will work?
Yeah, absolutely. So, uh, we know that the one thing that I think everybody moving abroad has in common is they need a place to live. Uh, in their new country. And that can be a big challenge for a few reasons. Number one, yes, we have all of these partners who can assist with the legal side of being able to stay in the country, but in a lot of cases, folks are on their own to figure out, well, who can help them navigate not only finding something, but the customs and just how things are done in other countries when it comes to
Oh,
housing,
yeah.
whether you're renting or buying.
Unregulated?
It is, yeah. There are dozens upon dozens of countries where, um, you don't have to take a real estate test like I did or like Brett's about to do. There is no
Mhm.
licensing board like I have for my license and like Brett will have for his. It is just cool. You wanna help it's like setting up a lemonade stand. It is exactly the same
For
amount of
sure.
regulations, as setting up a lemonade stand. So
Maybe less because in the US, they're constantly busting these poor kids
these
with
poor
their
these
lemonade
7-year-olds
stands.
asking for food and bev permits,
Mhm.
from the health department. So, having someone that our folks can trust when it comes for this thing that, again, that everybody is going to need, just in the way that we have developed these trusted partners for the legal side and how to ship your goods and what paperwork you need to take your pet to the new country. This big piece of the puzzle that is universal for everybody, which is housing. So helping them find rentals and helping them find something to purchase, depending on what they're looking to do at the time. Also, being able to connect our audience with trusted agents here in the U.S. if they need to sell their
Yeah.
home here. We know that for better or for worse, doing something like this is political. We saw that 98% of people who took the Expatsi test want to move abroad because of the current US political climate. So also finding real estate agents who are a little bit sympathetic, who are understanding that many times our folks are working under a tight timeline. There's all these moving parts that come into play, and the emotions behind packing up your stuff and leaving probably the only country that you have known and going someplace new is very loaded. So people who get our mission, who get what we're looking to do and understand our customer, I think is really, really important. So from beginning to end, being able to connect you up with real estate professionals in the US, real estate professionals in your new home country, so that it is a seamless process for our audience.
It's amazing. And by the way, Brett is getting his license in the US. So we're flying up to the Ham, Birmingham
Mhm.
next week, and he's gonna take his test there. We're gonna visit family and
Oh, that'll
and
be fun.
things like that. Eat hot chicken.
Yeah. All the things that you can't get in the US. Is there anything that you're gonna, like, buy to stock up on to bring back to Mexico?
I always have to get some gum. I
Mhm.
chew. This is not an ad, but I chew Orbit sweet mint gum, and I'm fully addicted to it.
Mhm.
And
Oh, I'm well
so
aware because half of a checked suitcase, like a giant checked suitcase when I came down there in September, um, 29 pounds of my 60-pound limit was Orbit's gum for Jen.
I'm such a fan.
It's
And
so good.
when we first got down here, it was at the gas stations, and I was so excited. And then we realized that it was at the gas stations, but they weren't restocking. So I
Mm.
actually have a map, a Google map called Gum, and it's all the gas stations I've already hit.
And
So
you
if we
say you
find
don't
it,
get out and do anything.
there you go, a
Mhm.
mission.
It's
So
okay.
when we get back, I
Yes.
am I am having a little freshening, a little procedure. I'm
Talk
very
to me
excited about
about
it.
your self-care that you are doing. You told me a little bit about it, but share with the class what you are doing when you
Okay,
get back
and
from
I'm going to
vacation.
make videos. I'm not going to like obviously I'm not going to hide it or anything like that, but I have wanted to get a neck lift and a little bit of a facelift. And I will some people say you're scared blah blah blah. It looks so good. And first of all, I have a light on my
Mhm.
face. So it always looks better than it does in real life. But it is it's just something like it's not the end of the world. I didn't get it done, I'd live also, but I really
Yeah,
would
but
like to have it done. And so I found a doctor here. I love him. He has he has Rebel Alliance memorabilia in his office, so I feel like I can trust him.
yeah,
He has a I think he has a Mandalorian helmet.
amazing.
Yeah, and then other like Jedi stuff. Anyway,
Mhm.
so I'm gonna have a deep plain neck lift,
Okay.
and then I'm having what's called Max, MACS, and what that means is it's just a very superficial
Okay.
facelift. And so because of that, it'll be scars behind my ears, which is helpful.
Yeah.
Um, and then because mostly it's in front of your ears, and I just don't have that kind of recovery time at the
Yeah.
moment. And I also don't think I need the whole
No.
kit and
Yeah.
caboodle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need it, the Joan Rivers, the
Grab it,
Mar-a-Lago.
shake you out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then they're going to, and a little upper left. Here, I'll get
Mhm.
close to my camera. So you see, I think I've always just had kind of hooded eyes.
Mhm.
And then they're going to do some fat transfer. So I guess they'll take some from down here or something and kind of put it here and under my eyes and in my lips and in my chin. So you can
Yeah.
see, I'll show I'm sure it's
Are they
hard to
gonna
say.
do,
This is
like,
not
the
ideal.
before and after photos like you see in all the advertisements?
Well,
Is your
I don't
doctor
know, but I am certainly doing it. And I filmed my doctor let me film him. Listen, this is a generalization I'm going to say about Mexicans. They are all ready to be on camera. Like you ask someone to be on camera, and it is like, I mean, I said, hey, do you mind being on camera? I've never heard no,
Mhm.
but it's not just yes, it is yes. And then the performance of a lifetime. I don't know if everyone has to be in plays growing up. I have
Mhm.
no idea
It's
where it
all the
comes from.
telenovelas.
Right. So he's just like, today Jen is going to have, and he just like runs down every single thing, nails it first try out of the gate. It just every time they make you look like rank
Amazing.
amateurs. Um, but so I don't know, maybe. And then I'm gonna have my moles taken off, which this was a
Mhm.
big thing because I've had, this one is always significant to me, but it keeps getting bigger. So I think what I'm gonna do is have it removed
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna get a little tattoo where it was so that I still have
Mhm.
the beauty mark, but it's
Little beauty
whatever.
mark. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna do CO2 laser, but it turns out it's not, he doesn't do there's a CO2 laser where they take you down to Skeletor. Um, and he
Yeah.
doesn't do that. He does the fractional laser
Okay.
where you do it in 3 treatments, and I can't do it during the surgery. I have to do it after.
Right.
Um, but I think that's probably for the best. Your
Mhm.
whole face,
Yeah.
comes off, and it can be at risk for infection and stuff too. And I am in the tropics during the rainy season, so
Yeah.
stuff is flying around all the time. So anyway, I'm very, very excited. I am hopeful that it will be absolutely unnoticeable, that I will just look like I have a filter on.
Yeah.
And we'll, but listen, whatever it turns out to be is what
That's
I'm going to be living with.
that's what you are. Yeah. No, I'm so
Yeah.
excited for you. And, I I mean, at the end of the day, it is gender affirming care, and we here at Expatsi are all
Hell
about
yeah.
gender affirming care.
Of
And,
course.
I as someone who, kind of teenager into early 20s, heavily modded people, in Austin. That's where like half of the Jim Rose Circus sideshow. If you're not Gen X, you have no idea what I'm about to talk about. But do you remember the Jim Rose Circus sideshow, Jen?
I have a encounter in the wild with Enigma.
Okay, yeah. So Enigma lived in Austin. His wife Katzen lived in Austin. They used to come into the bar that I worked at. I worked with the amazing Mr. Lifto. He was my bar manager at the bar that I worked at.
How did he lift the glasses?
Yeah, Casino El Camino on East 6th Street in Austin. Shout out to y'all. But yeah, like I worked with Lifto, Enigma, and these are just my friends. So, if we can be permissive about your tattoos and your piercings and all of that, then like, whatever makes somebody like feel good. And we only get one body in this life. So, whatever you want to do, and if it ain't hurting somebody else, like who it is nobody's business. So I am
I
so excited
appreciate
that you
that.
get to do this for yourself.
Thank you. I'm very excited too. And I have a big milestone birthday coming up this summer. I'll be 55. And so and we're doing a team retreat in Portugal in September. So I should
excited.
be healed by then, and we can maybe get some photos and
Yeah,
stuff like that to
that'll be super
celebrate.
fun. Yeah.
I need to mention the price, by the way. I was on a live and I was talking about it. And I said, guess how much it is? Everyone was guessing $3,000. And I was like, okay, y'all are out of touch. I can't even have this conversation with y'all. In the US, it depends. Like the minimum it would be is probably $25,000. But I saw one doctor, he's hundreds of thousands in like Kansas City. It's not Beverly Hills or something. But mine is going to be $8,000 all in.
So we get the healthcare question all the time, and there's an example of elective healthcare and how that's different.
Yeah, and that includes an overnight stay in the super fancy, nice hospital. So I don't have to come home and white knuckle through it and things like that. And then I'm going to go this weekend and check out a hyperbaric chamber company. So you go in there and they like super oxygenize you, and it supposedly makes you heal faster. So if it's affordable, my plan is to do that because, faster healing is helpful for, well, all the reasons.
Yeah, for sure. How exciting. So do you have like what you're going to be watching on TV as you recover? Because anytime I'm like sick or have a medical thing, I'm like, ooh, what do I get to binge watch? Have you been binge watching anything, Jen?
Oh my God, yes. And I'm obsessed.
Okay.
I am obsessed. And I know you haven't watched it yet, and you have to, or I will die. It's called Widows. It's called Widow's Bay. It's on Apple. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of it since it's on Apple. It stars Matthew Rhys, the guy from The Americans and Brothers and Sisters. And he also did Perry Mason. I don't know if you saw that Perry Mason revival.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was him. And then Stephen Root is in it. And then there are some brilliant character actors who are underused, in my opinion, right now. But one is, I don't know if you ever watched Somebody Somewhere. It is also brilliant. And there's this guy in it who's the funniest character actor. Anyway, he's in it. And then another character actor I've never seen before. Her name, I think, is Patricia on the show. She's freaking hilarious. But it is a horror comedy noir. Don't even know how to describe it, but it is so entertaining. And I can tell you, we only have one more episode to go, But my plan is to go back and watch it all again,
Mhm.
because as you get through the series, you realize that there are all sorts of little nods and Easter eggs and things all through it. And so I want to go back and watch it with a more careful, off my
Yeah.
phone, and a more careful eye.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah.
you?
So we're halfway through the last season of Hacks. We're trying not to binge it, and it's such an easy show to binge because they're only half-hour episodes.
Yes.
So we're trying to just do like one every 3 days instead of me just wanting to watch the whole
It's
season.
hard.
Um, it is hard. This season is so good, so ridiculously fantastic.
Have you gotten to the episode with, who's the girl from White Lotus who's married to, God, this is such, I'm showing my age.
I
The
was
girl
like,
from
"Okay,
White,
Mima."
yeah, the girl from White Lotus with the C word little Bob, and she's married to the guy who dances in Charlie's.
I can't with you right
Sam,
now.
Sam, Sam. His name
I'm
is
trying.
Sam, and he dances in Charlie's Angels. I'm
Oh
just gonna look it
gosh.
up.
I'm gonna give it a
Oh,
Google.
yeah, her name, I think it starts with an L. Guy who dances in Charlie's Angels.
Oh, you mean
Sam
Sam Rockwell.
Rockwell,
Okay.
right? And
Yes.
he is married to Rockwell wife Leslie Bibb, I think. Yes, Leslie Bibb.
Yes. I know exactly who
Ah,
you're talking about from last season of White Lotus. Yes. I
okay, but
have
you have
not
not gotten to the episode.
I don't think I have. No, I don't remember seeing her on it.
You'll know. You'll know. Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's the other person in the episode is the woman who plays the media mogul in Succession for the competing family.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
No, I
very
have,
good.
yeah. Yeah. So we're almost, I think if that episode is halfway, yeah, because Leslie Bibb appears in episode 7 and we just finished 5, and so we'll watch 6 tonight. So right around the
Okay.
corner. But it is I'm
You're
gonna miss
doing
that
good
show.
to parcel it out. It's a good idea because
Mhm.
it's just Brett had a really astute observation, which is part of the reason it's so good is because it's the first season where Ava and Deborah don't fight the whole
Mhm.
season.
Yeah.
And, the arc of most of the seasons is they hate each other and then they come around to loving each other by the
Mhm.
end. And it's frustrating because they're so much better working together. And
Together.
so
Yeah.
in this season, the enemies are outside the
Mhm.
gates. And I
Yeah.
think that made it better. Now I can see why they needed to have internal conflict, but I really do think
Mhm.
it's better. And the funny thing is, the first season, I did not like Meg Stalter at all.
Oh my
She was too chaotic for me. I was just, she made me so tense and angry
yeah.
because she was just
Well, 'cause she
willfully screwing stuff up.
yeah. And because under her dad's company too, so it was like, "Oh, okay, another nepo baby getting paid to do nothing just because daddy owns the company."
Yeah, and crazy. And
Mhm.
now that I have trust that even when she does crazy stuff, it's going to work out. And
Mhm.
also, I love the relationship that she and Paul have
Yeah.
outside of the
Yes.
show.
Yeah.
And so now I have, because before I was just like constantly afraid. And I think that probably speaks to my own fear of, I'm trying so hard to be successful and my fear of chaos, a
Mhm.
chaotic element I can't control screwing it up. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
I'm projecting the hell out of it on that show. And now Deborah is my dream. Not necessarily being, as wealthy as Deborah,
Mhm.
but boy, you really start to realize how much she lives her life on her own terms. And especially when she stops being mean to the people around her like she is in the
Yeah.
season, I started to
Mhm.
admire her a lot more.
Yeah. Marcus is my dream. That's who I wanna be when I grow up from Hacks. 'Cause
Really?
yes, I wanna be able to take an incubation of something. I wanna take somebody's QVC channel and funnel it off into a franchise and then buy a hotel to turn into a boutique.
This is why we work together
Mhm.
perfectly.
Mhm.
Oh my God. Oh, the dream. The dream.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, listen, that makes us the core. I started to say, who else do we need? But it's like nobody.
Mhm. No, we need to create an internal Expatsi quiz. Which Hacks character are you? Because I think, we have some folks that do have like a little bit of Kayla in the good way of like, let's throw out this wild idea and let's just,
Mhm.
see where it goes and hopefully somebody picks up on the passion. I'm trying to remember the name of Paul and Kayla's assistant. They're the
Oh, right. Robbie Hoffman. That's played by
Yes,
Robbie Hoffman.
yes, yeah, I can't remember her character's name, but I know we have folks, and I think we all have like all of these like little traits
Sure.
too. But yeah, I think that's why the company works well together. Our scrappy little team works together is because we always bring something a little different. We fill in the gaps that other people have. Jen, do you know what time it is?
Do you see me dancing?
It is that time.
Okay, listen. I wrote a song and I wanted to do something that was a nod to
Mhm.
our upbringing,
Okay.
uh, and, had that kind of 80s vibe, early 90s.
Mhm.
Okay, here's how it goes. This is the chorus. Now, I don't have all the verses lined out because I didn't Google it, but here is the chorus. Okay, it goes, Rum if you want to, roam around the world. Rum if you want to. Uh, you will probably need wings. You'll definitely need wheels.
Perfect.
There. Thank you.
Kate Pearson, eat your heart out. I saw a question come in that I want to pose to you. Especially because you talked about your procedure coming up. And so we touched a little bit on healthcare. So the question we received is everyone online says healthcare is better and cheaper abroad. Is that really true? Or are there trade offs that nobody talks about?
So that's a good question. I only have my experience and
Mhm.
other people I've talked to. And there is one trade off. And that is just, to me, is learning the system
Mhm.
and sort of taking the bull by the horns, which to be fair is, it exists in the US as well, right? Trying to find a primary care physician. So think about how you find and I'll be curious how you did it. But
Yeah.
so I had Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alabama, right? Always.
Mhm.
And so you'd go to the Blue Cross Blue Shield site, you would find a physician, you would look up primary care, you would look if you were interested in having someone as a woman at certain different hospitals, whatever, and make a list. And you would call to make an appointment. Um, and then they would tell you they're not accepting new patients. And you would
Mhm.
do that however many times. And then you would find somebody who was accepting patients, but their first available was in 6 weeks or whatever. And so you kind of end up just settling for whoever the hell you
Right.
get and going from there. And I had, good experiences, bad experiences, it's a process. But then from there, you don't really, everyone talks about you pick your doctors, all that stuff and how important that is to everybody who hated Obamacare or whatever.
Yeah.
But the truth is, really, once you get your primary care physician, you usually don't pick your doctors after that. You
Right.
always need a referral, and then you go through that process. And so it's not like there isn't any red tape to getting healthcare in the US. And, famously, I had a condition that took decades to even get someone to listen to me talk about in the
Mm.
US. When I finally realized, and I said, listen, I have got to talk to an endocrinologist about it. And I demanded. And finally, they let me. And it took 9 months to get an appointment. And, it's just terrible. And even after that, they were like, okay, well, here's a drug. Okay, I'll take the drug. And that was
Mhm.
it. Then when I came here and I went to see an endocrinologist just to like get re-upped on the drug, they said, well,
Mhm.
let's talk about this. And they actually got to the literal root cause of what was going on. And it isn't something curable, but it is manageable. And more than anything, it is the truth. And so now I know I have this answer. But because you can pick your own specialist, because you
Yeah.
can go to any facility, because it's all affordable, you
Mhm.
actually then have to kind of do the legwork.
Yeah.
So in the US, you're just going to go where you're allowed to go. It's so funny because people think it's the opposite, right? People think in the US you have all this choice and it is, like shopping in a mall and you're going to go try 15 different doctors. And I guess
Right.
maybe some people do. But in reality, you're going to get put in one slot of whatever you can afford and then that's going to direct you everywhere else. And I have noticed that the quality of healthcare you get in the US is very dependent on how hard you fight for it. So,
Mhm.
my ex-husband was a union pipe fitter and he was not great about his health care. And so when I started to go to the doctor with him, he was treated completely differently
Mm.
because I was advocating for his care. I was like, listen, this blood pressure, he can't be walking around with this blood pressure. And they were like, oh, well, yeah, okay, we can take care of it. But because they were used to people who didn't advocate for themselves, they let them just live on these margins.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that exists here because there's a public and a private system, of course, and I'm sure
Mhm.
that there are challenges. But as someone who accesses the private system, the biggest challenge I have is just um, taking the bull by the horns. Great news,
Yeah.
that's my specialty. So it
Yeah.
works well for me. Now, if you are someone who is incredibly passive and you want someone to do it for you, you can have that. And what exists are these concierge groups. And so you pay, I don't know how much it is. Let's say it's $80 a month to the
Okay.
concierge service. And then whenever you need care, instead of doing what I do, which is go through the Dr. Alia app and research every single person and match them up, you can go to the concierge. Now for the facelift that I was mentioning, I looked at every single I looked at every single website, read all the reviews, all that sort of thing. I looked at all their Instagrams, looked at their before and afters, and ultimately I had one-on-ones with two physicians.
Okay.
And one of them, I just felt the vibes were immaculate. Um, and I decided to go with them. I did
Gotcha.
look at, there are celebrity facelift doctors in Mexico without a doubt.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
There's one in Guadalajara, or a few in Guadalajara, a few in Tijuana, and I
Mhm.
did kind of look at that route and in Cancun, and I realized that probably what I needed more than anything was to be able to recuperate at home.
Yeah. Yeah. You know yourself better than anybody else ever could.
Yeah, and this is what I'm having done is fairly routine. It's not
Mhm.
like I'm, you know, trying to have some super complex
Yeah.
$300,000 thing. They're going to lift
Overall.
my face up a little.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't had a chance to navigate the Portugal system yet. Um, for me, it is like how do I, how is it different? What do I do? Now, this is the one thing that my partner, that Dave, is take the bull by the horns. Like, he's like, I'll just walk into
Nice.
one of the hospitals and just go, how do I do this? Like when it comes to that, he's really, really good at it. So I'm gonna let him kind of be my canary in the coal
Good.
mine when it
Good.
comes to that. But just talking about medical care in other countries, and one of the things that I see a lot on social media from the naysayers when we're like, I'm going to move to another country and healthcare is so much more affordable. Yeah, but you're going to wait 9 months
Right.
for your
They all
broken leg,
think
whatever.
that. Yeah,
When,
they all
uh,
think that.
when I was trying to move to the UK and I was staying in the UK, I didn't have residency. So I wasn't, I was still there like as a tourist. I had a cyst that ruptured on one of my ovaries. I was in excruciating
Ooh,
pain. Um, I'm for all intents and purposes by myself. I'm in my early 20s with a bunch of early 20s folks. So they're like, I could have used an adult at that point.
right.
So a friend of mine took me to the hospital. I'm like, well, what are they going to do for me? I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. I don't have insurance here. I didn't even have insurance back home. And like, they're like, oh, what are you talking about? So they took me, they gave me the pain meds. They did like ultrasound and everything to make sure that it would just kind of work itself out on its own. And as someone with no insurance, not on the public system, the way that they were just like, we just need to make sure that you're going to be okay. And not just baseline, you're not bleeding from your eyeballs. Let's push you back out on the street and you deal with it on your own. They even were like, and then we want you to come back next week to make sure that this cyst is, dissolving the way that it needs to. And again, I didn't have to wait not 9 months for this like pain in my ovary to go away. They took me into A&E. I was probably seen within 15, 20 minutes. And so if that is any indication of what care can be like in another country for, again, someone who isn't a citizen or a resident, didn't have money to pay out of pocket, to buy their way out of this situation, I think it speaks volumes for how different care is in the US than it is in other countries.
Do you watch The Pit?
No, but I've heard good things about it.
I mean, listen, it's a medical procedural.
Of course.
And I think that the reason people like it is it's young people. Ron loves it. I think, okay, so Ron, I don't want to tell me if you disagree, but I think mostly it has to do with, the kids yearn for medical procedurals because they just don't have that. We've had so much prestige television that it's kind of like a return to that comfort. And it is really good. Like, it is really good. But if you go into any Reddit threads about The Pit, it is just international folks asking if that's really what healthcare is like in the US because they cannot believe it. And then all the healthcare professionals are like, it's pretty like their point is, yeah, all these things wouldn't happen on the same day, right? That's the convention of the show. But all of these things absolutely do happen exactly as portrayed. And it's just something crazy to keep in mind speaking of canaries and coal mines, it is such an early indicator of how bad things are in the US. In the past week, and then I will leave it at this, but I have watched police raid is a strong term, but police be sent to the American Psychiatric Association to arrest people if they attended a talk, and to the American Diabetic Association to arrest people who were passing out published journal articles. And I can tell you that ain't going on nowhere.
Yeah. Well, if you want your move abroad questions answered here on the podcast, you can email us at podcast@expatsi.com.
Americans Abroad is an Expatsi production. Please like, share, subscribe, and leave a review. Are you thinking about moving abroad? Start with our quiz at expatsi.com. That's expatsi.com.